Everybody to Fantasy Pros, this is Out of Bounds. It is me, Joey P, Joe Pisapia, with my two best friends, Bogman and the Welsh, and we're here to talk about the fun side of fantasy football. That's right, because we're so serious here at Fantasy Pros Monday through Friday, but, by Monday afternoon, we're all a little crazy, and we need to just talk it out, hug it out, scream it out, I don't know, but maybe all of the above today on the show. We are live on our Twitch, twitch.tv/fantasypros. That's the place to be for all of our NFL content on Twitch, and of course, if you're watching on demand, you're on our YouTube channel. Subscribe to the YouTube channel. But we've got a special giveaway for all those people on the Twitch right now. So I want to shout that out. Ricky Pearsall signed 49ers mini helmet. And no, Welsh, you can't wear it. And no, you can't have it. Ricky Pearsall made his debut for 2025 yesterday. A nice little catch there. Whether you're a Niners fan like Welsh or you're just love collecting signed NFL gear, this is the must-have addition to your shelf that you need right now. And to enter, all you have to do is to leave a comment on our Twitch stream. So you got to go to twitch.tv/fantasypros for this one. And as always, if you subscribe to our Twitch, you get 1.5 times odds boost of winning. Again, this helmet is from pristineauction.com. It's authenticated. It's awesome. It's fantastic. And we're going to announce the winner Tuesday. Oh my God, September 16th on the Twitch channel. So there you go. Get in on this Ricky Pearsall helmet. Welsh, so Christian McCaffrey did play. You came away with a W. How are you feeling about your 49ers after week one?
I mean, great and not great. Both sides of it. Christian McCaffrey, LOL. All of you guys' panic and freak out. He only had, 31 touches. Didn't actually look super great, by the way, if you watch the game. But everybody else is hurt. All the other players. Everybody but Christian McCaffrey went down. Christian McCaffrey did some voodoo stuff. And
his calf should be studied.
He just pushed all of his injury out, and then it was like a succubus. All the other players took it. George Kittle's done. Juwan Jennings is done, but they did it so Christian McCaffrey could be healthy. So their sacrifice is Christian McCaffrey's gain. So all of you that freaked out, shut up. Shut up.
Speaking of freaking out, Scott Bogman had an eventful afternoon game watching Aaron Rodgers and his Pittsburgh Steelers get some bounces of the ball that went their way, and Aaron Rodgers got his revenge on the New York Jets. And the question is, if they win again against Seattle, do they become this year's New Orleans Saints, where they got off to that good start and everyone's like, hey, look at the Steelers, maybe they're better. And then we all know what happened after that, because Aaron Rodgers got lit up in that game quite a bit. And I'm worried for him being upright for the rest of the season with the way the Jets went after him.
Joe, how do you not know how this story ends? It ends at 9-8. And a 30-point drubbing in the playoffs, right? Like, that's exactly how the story ends. I've seen this movie before. This is the 18th sequel or whatever it is under Mike Tomlin, right? Like,
Steelers go 5-2 to start the season, and then they lose a whole bunch mid-season. This is how the story builds, right?
Yeah, it's either they go 5-2 or they start 8-0, and then hey, look, they ended up 9-8. I don't know how that happened. So
I got a question for you, Boggs. What's more mediocre as it went on, the Steelers' legacy or the Fast and Furious films?
What are you talking about, Joe?
Do you think he's seen any of those? Do you think he's seen
one
of those
movies? Welsh?
I the last one I saw was whatever Tokyo Drift was. That was the last one of those that I saw. So how many have been out since
That's
then?
not even chronically in the number scheme, by the way. I just want to point out. That's not even in the scheme of numbers. There's 11 of them.
Oh, so I'm sorry. I missed Too Fast, Too Furious.
That one wasn't
or whatever
about
the one with Shark. I'm sure I missed a bunch of epic peak American cinema by not seeing all those Fast and Furious movies. So
Fast and Furious.
Look, all I know is that it's always a good thing when you have to get a 60-yard field goal to beat the Jets, right? Like, that is exactly your season is going to be amazing when that's what it takes to beat them. So the Jets look good, offense looked good, Fields, the system was designed very well for him. I don't know what you're talking about, lucky bounces, Joe. That's exactly how you draw that play up. You bounce it off Jonnu, and it goes to DK Metcalf after he's already touched it one time. I don't know. I don't know why you think that was luck. That was clearly designed like that. It's Arthur Smith's genius.
Well, we're going to talk more about Arthur Smith's genius, sarcasm, and a lot more. We're going to play a little Fact or Fiction. We're bringing back our favorite contest, the 3-1-1. We're going to do our takeaways and our favorite moments from the week that was in fantasy football. And we're going to kick things off here with a little Q&A, but not the way you think. It's questions and asses. I ask the questions, and we're a bunch of asses who are going to give some answers to them. And I want to start here with the absolute ass-kicking of the Colts on the Miami Dolphins, which, whew, my goodness, I think we actually have an indicator of why the Colts actually played so well. So, Sal, can you bring that up? Because it's all about motivation when it comes to Indianapolis.
All right, guys, first game of the season. Let's do it! Woo! This is our Colts. This is our team. We bleed blue. This is our Colts. Whether win or lose, we love them. For the shoe, beat the Dolphins. Let's do it for good old Jim. This is our team. Go Colts!
Do it for the shoe, everybody. Look, if you
That's actually me when I shave my beard.
Put me
Is that
in
what you
All
look
my
like?
hair.
That's pretty amazing.
That's
But
exactly
like, if
what I
that
look
doesn't want to make you run through a wall, I don't know what does. I mean, that is some motivating high-end stuff there.
Makes
But
me want to jump off a wall, but yeah.
amazing. Speaking of jumping off a wall, imagine Giant fans waking up today going, how did Daniel Jones go to Indianapolis and become Peyton Manning? And how did Russell Wilson come to New York and become Daniel Jones? It was kind of a weird circle of events there that happened. But Daniel Jones played really good football. The Colts were in it. The Miami Dolphins were atrocious start to finish in this game. Tua played poorly, which here's the first question. Are the Dolphins even worse than we thought they were? Bogman, I'll start with you.
They sure look like it. In week 1, they looked dysfunctional. Nothing would work on offense at all. Tyreek wants out. It looked real bad. And that was the Colts defense they're playing, which I would say is hovering right around league average, maybe a little better than league average. But, you know, what if they played the Broncos week 1? This would have been that 77 in reverse or whatever, you know? So, yeah, man, they look like a mess right now.
All right. Obviously, Johnny thinks they are. I see you in the chat here. We're going to get to some of your comments, too. We just wanted to kick things off here. Welsh, how about you? Takeaways from the Colts Miami game? Because, look, Daniel Jones, from a fantasy perspective, gave you everything you could have wanted. And when Daniel Jones had a healthy Saquon Barkley and guys around him, he was a serviceable QB. But this was a great performance for fantasy for him, for sure. Tyler Warren looks like the real deal, as we all thought he would be. But the ineptitude across the board of the Miami Dolphins and the quit that they had in week 1 was pretty stunning to me. And I had low expectations coming into this year. I thought Mike McDaniel was going to get fired week 12 in the bye. He might not make it that long, Welsh.
Missed opportunity, by the way, just to point this out because I don't want to interrupt anybody, but having Ace Ventura going, can I ask you a few questions, is what the segment could have been. So I just want to say,
Next
complete
week,
missed
Sal, let's
opportunity.
put it in the show.
All right, just put it out there. Dolphins, biggest pile of garbage this week. Tua looks so lost. The offensive line is crap. He doesn't know what he's doing. That team is done. And that is comparing against what the Panthers look like. Bryce Young was sitting out there watching in-game stuff on the Jumbotron during the game instead of watching what was happening, going through it. So I think the Dolphins are cooked. I think this is bad. Tyreek is already done. The offensive scheme looks bad. But I will say this. Bogman can attest to this. I had the Colts as a sneaky playoff team in a show that we did last week, because I don't think Daniel Jones is as cooked as everybody thought. He's a game manager. He's not a game winner. Anthony Richardson plays like a guy that has to win the game because he makes a bunch of bad decisions and has to throw it 60 yards. Daniel Jones is just put around 5 really good pass catchers. I was about to say 4, but if you go down the wide receivers, Pierce looks great. Pittman's fine. Downs. A.D. Mitchell is completely underrated. And Tyler Warren, you heard, I think, Michael Pittman say after the game, Tyler Warren could have gone for 200. He literally was using video game terminology. He's like, dude, we could spam Tyler Warren all day long if we want. Tyler Warren, by the way, might be a top 5 tight end in fantasy. So I think Dolphins are cooked, and I think the Colts are a little bit underrated, and Daniel Jones might actually be a half-decent streaming quarterback in fantasy this year.
I think same first read percentage for Tyler Warren and Trey McBride in week 1.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
Pretty good company.
Warren was great. Look, it's Ken Walker, the third of Bus. Dirty Birds, we're going to talk about this. We have a whole segment coming up later, Fact or Fiction, talking about that Seattle backfield.
Yeah, and those rookie defensive linemen, Joe, that you said 700 times on Betting Pros. You're like, oh, well, you're going to go on those rookie defensive linemen. Rookie defensive linemen.
Listen, before we get too excited, there was, about a minute and change left, and they were in the red zone about to score, and then Sam Darnold brought his arm back and hit a lineman of his own, and next thing you know, all of a sudden, that Seattle upset was right on the doorstep. So you got
how many points did they score?
Who?
Seattle?
Was it 14? They lost 17-14, right? Wasn't that the final?
Is that a lot of points?
Yeah, I'm not saying anything.
But if they put up 21 and they beat the 49ers 17, it would be a very different.
I had a bet that Ken Walker would go over under 60 yards. Joe just kept saying rookie lineman. I said they got linemen, but they got linemen to stop the run. They held both running backs to 22 carries under 70 yards total for those rookie defensive linemen.
We'll see. All right, now let's get to Aaron Rodgers and the Jets, because it's weird because I came out of that game actually going, I feel really good about the direction of the Jets. Like, Justin Fields was looking like he was trying to throw the football instead of always trying to run. Garrett Wilson, again, seemed to pick up where he left off with him in Ohio State. Defense, got after the quarterback. The run game was pretty solid there. And it's funny because they lost, but I feel better about the Jets than I felt about the Steelers coming out of that game, because I saw the defensive problems all over the place for the Steelers. I saw offensive line issues. I did not see Caleb Johnston, which pissed me off. But what I did see the most of this offseason was my favorite Aaron Rodgers meme. And I just want to bring that back for 1 second before we talk more about this game.
Throat or difficulty breathing or swallowing, stop taking Cialis and get medical help right away. Ask your doctor about Cialis for daily use and a free 30-tablet trial.
I love this. The Aaron Rodgers slow motion on top of the, the Cialis commercial made me laugh. But here it is.
It's missing a bathtub.
You know what that looks like? Have you guys seen that meme of the quarterback in whatever, like some Lifetime show or some Disney show? And they're like, quarterbacks
100%.
don't throw like this. And he just goes flick. Like, that's what this looks like. He's just like,
it absolutely does. It's a Disney Channel movie where Greg Kinnear is playing Aaron Rodgers or something like that's happening. But
this is CW Aaron Rodgers.
But
yeah.
But let's talk about it. The motivation was there for Aaron Rodgers. So, Boggs, you're Mr. Steeler, so I want to talk to you about this one. What were your takeaways when you come away honestly looking at? I know they won the game. I know it was, way more entertaining. We can come back to the $3 now.
Yeah, we're in a Aaron Rodgers loop.
Because I enjoy so much I can see Aaron Rodgers throwing that football. But think about this. He did get lit up a bunch in that game. They did get a couple of bounces that went their way. Are you looking ahead here going, for fantasy-wise, let's just for fantasy, that this is what the Steelers are going to look like, where Kenneth Gainwell is going to be working a lot in this situation, and Calvin Austin is the new Randall Cobb for him? Like, is that your takeaway here from a fantasy perspective, or is this the highlight possibly of Aaron Rodgers 2025, and it's all downhill from here?
I mean, I don't know that he'll throw 4 touchdowns again, right? That's a lot of touchdowns.
Right. That's what I'm saying. It might not
an
get
old man
better
like
than
that to throw. But I do think that, this is going through, he had no preseason action, so I think he's holding the ball a little bit too long. He needs to get through some of those, paces in real time and get a little experience with this offensive line. So I think there's a little mix of that. I'm more concerned about the defense looking bad, but I'll say this. Justin Fields has never looked as good as he did in that game in the NFL. He has never passed with that much confidence. It seemed like he made the right decision all the time, and he looks great. So I'm more positive on the Jets offense than I am down on the Steelers defense, but I am the problem last year in the playoffs was they couldn't stop Derrick Henry, and they could not stop Breece Hall in this game. They drafted Derek Harmon to help plug that, and Derek Harmon is going to miss the first month of the season with the knee injury. So nothing has improved here for them.
Let me put one thing in on Aaron Rodgers. Aaron Rodgers can actually be successful this year if it is low variance, high percentage completion stuff. 71.7. That is the yards after catch percentage he had on his yardage. DK Metcalf, I believe, was 1 or 2 yards after the catch. Yeah, behind Zay. So you had guys, what does that all that mean? You have guys that are making plays for him. If he can just get these low leverage stuff in here. Now, I don't think he's going to have anything like this at all, but he had a 10% higher adjusted completion percentage than he had in this game. It was like 73%, 82 adjusted completion. Everything was done off of the feet of the guys around him. That's actually sustainable, not for touchdowns, but that is like they could keep doing this. DK Metcalf can make plays up. Efficiency, that's a much better word. If he can be low level efficient, these guys can make some of the plays, and that's what happened against the Jets defense that, does not look that bad to get blown up by the Steelers.
I'll say this. I think the Caleb Johnson thing, the running back thing, Joe, that you brought up as well, I think that's just going to be slow rolling. I don't think Kenneth Gainwell is going to be the guy for the entire season. I do think it's going to be Caleb Johnson. But if you dump him now, it's going to be like a couple years ago when you dumped Chase Brown after the first 3 weeks, where he was getting no snaps at all, and then he was the main back after that.
I talked about
that's
this
what I
on
think.
The waiver wire shows today. I said Caleb Johnson's probably going to be one of the most dropped guys this week you watch. I would be buying him everywhere. I'd be picking him up everywhere he gets dropped and just press on. Before we get to the next Q&A here, Quentin Johnston or Hollywood Brown. This is from J.S. Himmy. Or
Jay Shimmy, maybe,
depending on how you. I don't know his full name or not, but QJ or Hollywood Brown. Interesting conversation. We had this on the waiver wire discussion today. You can watch that video on YouTube. Welsh, who would you rather have rest of season? You want to have Hollywood Brown for a couple weeks here before everybody gets healthy again, or QJ and maybe something has changed for him, and maybe this is not just the same old trap we get into every year with him?
I think I'm gonna go with Quentin Johnston. I mean,
too.
Hollywood Brown looks great, but it's only going to be for a couple weeks. I guess in theory, if Worthy's going to be out for an extended period of time, like more than 2 or 3, and then you've got 5 out of Hollywood Brown, which shouldn't be dismissed. But Quentin Johnston was right up there in the same target percentage as Ladd McConkey. He was getting stuff in the air. He was making plays after the catch as well. He did a little bit of everything. Herbert seems to trust him. Ladd gets a lot of coverage. I think Quentin Johnston is probably, I don't know what you guys did on the waiver wire. I would have to imagine he's near the tippy top, pending what percentages you're looking at. So I'm going to take Quentin Johnston over Hollywood.
Well, we had a big discussion about the Hollywood Brown usage going forward, what that might look like, and understanding that, he's a little delicate as well, but also he's worth more to you if you have Worthy, right? And understanding that that's where the premium has to come in. What'd you make of the QJ performance on Friday night, Boggs?
The parachutes went off. And when I say that, I mean, Quentin Johnston could do everything but catch the ball before. And, that's one of my favorite lines in Apollo 13 is they're trying to find the power. And he goes, well, then let's get rid of the parachute. Something goes, well, John, if the parachutes don't go off, what's the point? Right? That is what it is with Quentin Johnston. If you can't catch the ball, none of the rest matters. But if you can catch the ball, and you're getting open like he did and scoring 2 touchdowns, it has to be Quentin Johnston. I'll say this for Marquise, in the short term, if you lost Xavier Worthy, if you lost somebody and you're looking for an immediate big-time replacement, I think Marquise is that guy for the next 6 weeks, right? I think Worthy is going to miss a month. Then we obviously have 5 more weeks of no Rashee Rice as well. There's been Tyreek rumors. Maybe that happens. Maybe he gets traded back to the Chiefs. I don't know how legitimate that is with his salary and the salary cap and all of that nonsense. But I think Marquise is going to be the guy here for the next 4 to 5 weeks, and he's going to put up huge numbers. He did when Worthy went down. He had 16 targets in that game. So he's going to be very, very high first read percentage because he's the last one that's not dead.
Are you Brown over him?
Team right now? I'm in the immediate right now, but I think long term I'd rather have Quentin. But if I'm missing someone, or I had AJ Brown, or something like that, and I need an immediate replacement for this week, it's Marquise right now. Long term, it's QJ.
I go QJ.
All right. And I'll tell you what, it is an interesting discussion too, especially when guys start to come in to take your job. Like they drafted Trey Harris, they signed Keenan Allen, and it's really fascinating to see how that can motivate a player. Yeah, in an offseason. So let's see if it's for real. We'll find out. One more cue for these A's. We have Jackson Dart rumblings already. I'm in the tri-state area, and I know Brian Dable after the game was not too happy with things and wasn't committing, but it seems like he's committing to Russell Wilson, which he should, because until Thomas comes back, any quarterback's going to get absolutely annihilated back there. However, will we see Jackson Dart by week 5? Welsh, start with you.
Yes, I think so. If that one performance already got us to the stage where they were non-committal, and then they needed to, have the conference today and be all right, we're going to go with Russ. I think so. Malik Neighbors is pretty good about it after the game, just, kind of taking shade off of Russ and saying there's so much stuff the other guys need to do. But I think a good 4-week span of learning the playbook and going through, I think there's only so many losses that this team can take. Defense played well. Bogman talked about it before, that he thought this Giants defense was a bit underrated. So I could see the possibilities, but it's going to go from Russ to Dart. And I think by week 5, it's a yes.
Boggs, what do you think?
I think so. Yes.
Dart? Yeah.
Because I think you're going to keep losing these low-scoring games. I think the defense is going to do their part, and they're going to lose probably another low-scoring game to Dallas this week. And I think it's going to be frustrating when you're holding teams to 21 points or less, and you're still losing those games because the offense can't do anything. I think it's going to make the switch quick. So 3-4 weeks, somewhere in that neighborhood. I think week 5 might be perfect.
Shout out to WBRXN, who just subbed with Prime on our Twitch. Appreciate you. And everybody's subbing recently. So cool. Again, you could use your Amazon Prime, $5, get rid of the commercials. It's great. And here on our Twitch, we've got Out of Bounds every single Tuesday. If you want to be on the show, hang out with us, talk a little bit with us. We're going to be here every single Monday, 2 p.m. Eastern. Bogman and Welsh play Madden Live from 12 Eastern on Tuesdays. Seth and Debro are here on Thursdays. So we got a lot of action happening on the Twitch. Again, twitch.tv/fantasypros. Let's talk a little bit more, gentlemen, about the takeaways and our favorite moments of the week. I will begin. I would say that my big takeaway was the Lions losing 2 coordinators is exactly as bad as I thought it was going to be. And it showed itself in Green Bay. And I think they will bounce back. I'm buying in on them next week. They play the Bears in their own building. I think that's going to be a very emotional game. I do expect Jared Goff to play better inside. I expect Jahmyr Gibbs to have a big game and Amon-Ra to bounce back. But long term, when you lose 2 coordinators year over year, it is going to be struggle bus. So that is my big takeaway from week 1, and they certainly got their butt handed to them by the Green Bay Packers. Welsh, what was your big takeaway from the first week of the season?
You all, not me, you all wrote off Breece Hall way too early. Every
Fair.
single one. You know who you are. You look at yourselves in the mirror at night. You wrote him off way too early. Came out 19 carries. Had a solid explosive run rate. I mean, explosive yards, 47%. He was used a little bit inside the 5. We know Braylon Allen's going to take that. Made his big play, smashed that receiving yard total. Surprised he didn't get used more, but he was so effective against that Steelers run game that they kept bringing it down. They used a lot of zone running. 94% of his rush attempts came in that zone blocking scheme. Everybody was way too quick on it. I mean, every number you want to start going and looking at, missed tackles force was there. He wasn't getting like a ton of yards after contact, but there were just big holes. The offensive line, even in their loss before the game, one of their offensive linemen, Breece Hall, was used in mass amounts. He was one of the biggest playmakers, did it on the ground, did it in the air. And all of you were dropping him outside the top 24 because he was cooked, and you were wrong, and that was the takeaway.
All right, Boggs, what's your big takeaway from this week?
Etienne is the lead back in Jacksonville, and it's not close at all. And we did have the big rain delay in this game and all that, adding some weirdness to that one. But, I mean, Etienne just – and I know the Panthers they had historically bad run defense last year, but he was the guy. They didn't give the ball to Tank until the game was in the bag. Yeah, Quentin Allen took the second touch on this team before Tank Bigsby did. So Travis Etienne is the guy here. We can kill all those trade rumors. I would say Breece is more likely to get traded at this point. If the Jets lose a bunch of games and they're bad,
Maybe.
They have those 2 good backs behind him. I think Houston is going to be kicking down somebody's door for a running back. It's possible Chicago might be if DeAndre Swift doesn't work like he didn't work for Ben Johnson before. There are teams that the Cowboys. Yeah, there are a bunch of teams that need a running back. I'll let Javonte look real.
Javonte looked pretty good, but
well,
yeah,
Javonte looked pretty good, but let's not forget Jalen Carter spit himself out of that game. So we
That's
take
true.
him out of that game. There's a big difference in that defensive line when Jalen Carter's not in the front of it. But how many games is Javonte Williams going to have 2 touchdowns? To me, he's like the biggest sell high candidate coming out of week 1. Like,
I don't know. He looked good. I don't know if I want to sell him.
He did look sharp. Look, he looked good, but again, if you want to sell them, if you've got a surplus of RBs and somebody's going to overpay, like if somebody right now offered you Devonta Smith for Javonte Williams because they need a running backs, would you take that deal?
Yeah, I would take that one.
But I think that deal's on the table for a lot of teams right now, looking at
I think you're right.
injuries and what's going on, and the buy low, sell high aspect. That's his peak. I love the ATM thing because Boggs, I've got him everywhere. So
I don't. I was worried about that scenario because even like in practices, it was Bigsby leading, and then they got to the preseason game, and then Etienne was the lead.
To me,
back.
it was just a Liam Cohen style, though. I think ATN, if you watched
more
Tampa,
Bucky. Yeah,
if you watch Tampa, like that's the style and the pace of play that he wants to do, and I just thought ATN fits that better.
he's the most complete back there, right? Tootin
And he
is
was
a
only-
worse version of Etienne, and Bigsby can't catch the ball. So
and he was
Etienne,
RB3 2 years ago.
but he was miserable last year. Etienne was.
No, but it's one bad year when he was hurt, and there was a lot of misery around Jacksonville. And look, I know that layoff was weird in the middle of that game too. Hour and a half is tough. All right, favorite
well,
moment.
we know now.
And Panthers are the worst defense. I just want to point out,
Panthers
look, we need
still
like one more.
They
week
gave up the
because
most rushing yards in NFL history.
They're
last
one
year.
of the most
They're
pathetic
still really
defenses
bad.
in the NFL.
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
before we anoint, they did use like 4 different backs in
That's
that
fair.
system. Like I have ETN, but let's be careful.
He
He might be the big trade candidate. Sorry.
More on ATN later, and he might be. He's on the last year of his deal. Favorite moment. This one was tough for me. There was a lot. The Derrick Henry stiff arm in that first half was pretty good, but unfortunately, it's easy to just go to the Josh Allen stuff at the end of the game. I'm going to pick a defensive one, which is going to make Scott Bogman very happy.
like
Linebacker Nate Landman punching the ball out of Dare Ogunbowale, and I mean punching. Like, I'm talking about like Mike Tyson punch-out kind of style stuff, man, knocking that ball out in a period where all of a sudden the Texans got the ball back with some time and they could have made some noise in that game. That Rams defense played really well, and I don't know if they're going to get enough credit right away, but let me tell you, that one stuck out to me. Boggs, give me your moment of week 1.
I mean, how could it not be a 60-yard field goal by Boswell to end that game? And then Mike Tomlin calling him a serial killer in the press conference after. He's ready for that moment. His pulse is low. But, I mean, I also really like being right. And Keon Coleman having the enormous game. And
well, he did have a ball fall into his hands in the end zone, too, which was pretty nice.
Oh, it did not fall into his hands. He dove for it, made an amazing catch, Joe.
He did.
So it did not fall into his hands. He wasn't laying on the ground on his back like DK Metcalf.
It wasn't. He
dove
most
for that
of an
ball.
opportunity. You know what? I can't wait for somebody to slice up that Mike Tomlin quote later in the year when Rodgers gets Tomlin fired and someone asks him, "What did you think about Aaron Rodgers?" And he goes, "He's a serial killer."
Yeah, that one will be great. Did Joe go I think Joe froze.
He killed me. He killed Robert Saleh. He killed Mike McCarthy. He's a murderer, that guy. Ice in his veins. Because you know it's coming.
It might happen, but
early December.
The Keon Coleman moment, the ball bouncing into his hands, I thought was awesome.
No, it was good. How about Matt Prater off the scrap heap too? That was kind of fun there.
At Oliver, you could have used for a punch out as well.
Yeah, I could have, but I don't like saying bad things about Derrick Henry because that's my guy. So it makes me sad. And he hit the SGP for me on Sunday Night Football, which again, 2 in a row. Thursday Night Football, Sunday Night Football. The SG
starting hot
on Betting Pros. You got to go watch the Betting Pro shows. I won't have 2 back-to-back all year. And I got around to week 1. That's craziness. All right, Welsh, give me your favorite moment of the week.
Oh, I'll homer out completely. How about Jake Tonjes mossing touchdown over Seattle? He did not have a single career reception going into this game. McCaffrey and Purdy weren't even aware of it. Just want to point this out because, like, I think Kittleson missed time. Like, he's a hamstring injury. He's like clearly going to miss time. A lot of the doctors online, I don't know, Bogman, if you and Deepak talked about it on the Sunday night show, but the numbers look like 2 to 3 weeks. You don't want to have fantasy. There's not going to be fantasy replacement going to the 49ers or anything like that. There's way too many good tight ends that are floating out there that especially popped this week. But Tonjes with 0 career receptions, making a critical, I think it was a first down catch, and then absolutely just mossing over, had 3 catches towards the end of the game. There actually might be some production there, but as a 49er fan, I absolutely lost it when he did that. The Egbuka also was a awesome play. He showed out huge this week. I would definitely say that's in the top 5.
I'll say his second touchdown. His second touchdown, real quick, was a split second from being Xavier Watts' pick. 2 rookie on rookie crime there. That was a lot of fun, that second touchdown.
Chat, I know you're hanging out here in the Twitch watching. Drop your favorite moments of week 1, and I'll bring up some of the best ones here. While we do that, let's play a little game, a little fact or fiction. We'll get to our contest, and if we've got time, we'll get to more of your questions because I know you got fantasy questions too on the Twitch, and we'll try to answer some of those too. Do a little Q&A with you guys as well. So let's play a little fact or fiction here. Let's talk about that Seattle backfield that people were talking about in the chat earlier. Zach Charbonnet seemed to get a lot of action, and Ken Walker, well, he didn't get as much as maybe we hoped he would, and Derek Brown is not happy about that, I can tell you. Derek Brown is the king of Ken Walker the third shares, so I will put this to fact or fiction. Welsh, Zach Charbonnet is the new lead back in the Seattle backfield.
I'm going to say, like, false or true, like both, because I just think it's going to change. I think it's going to change based on scheme, based on usage. I don't think one guy is going to affirmatively be, here's your 20 carry back, and then here's your 5 carry back. I think they're going to eat into each other. I think it's going to probably be within 2 to 3, maybe 2 to 5 carries at most on a week in and week out basis. So I don't really know what to say. Like, I'm false, true, false. False, true.
Well, no. I mean, you could.
I just don't think Charbonnet is the lead back, but I also don't think Ken Walker.
I also don't think it's hot hand
lead back. I think it's
hot hand committee style.
Yeah.
All right. Well, the tail of the tape: Zach Charbonnet 12 carries for 47. Ken Walker 10 for 20. Charbonnet also had the touchdown in this one. Ken Walker did have 3 receptions on 4 targets. I don't know if that matters to you. Perhaps it was just their approach against the 49ers defensive rookies that Welsh likes to point out. Scott Bogman, Fact or fiction, Zach Charbonnet is the man in the backfield in Seattle.
I'm going to say fact. I think Clint Kubiak coming in here is changing the way things are done. Now, I will say this. I still think Ken Walker is a slightly better back skill-wise than Charbonnet, but he can't stay on the field. So this might simply just be, let's ease Ken Walker in. He's had a history of missing games. Let's do this different. We have a good back behind him in Charbonnet. Charbonnet can lead, to start, and then we can use Ken Walker when we need him down the stretch to keep him healthy. So I think that I think that Charbonnet leads right now, but it could switch like Welsh says. So I'll say fact, but fact with a question mark at the end, like a Valley Girl. Like I'll say fact.
Okay.
But I'm not really sure about this one. So I think he's going to be the lead guy, but could easily be Ken Walker too.
Spicy Wise has a great quote here. I accidentally auto-drafted Walker and I want out. Yeah, I feel that pain. That's a good one, Spice. All right, let's get to fact or fiction. Daniel Jones is this year's Sam Darnold. Sam Darnold led the Vikings to the playoffs. Of course, we all know how that story ended, unfortunately, but it was a good start. It's only week 1, too much overreaction. Fact or fiction, Sam Darnold, his new version is actually 2025 Daniel Jones. Boggs?
Yes, true. This is true. I think, and this is the thing, and I thought Richardson would have fit great here if he could throw the forward pass and, call a block and all that stuff, but he just has proven not to be able to do any of that stuff. This system is set up for success. They have 3 quarterbacks that play the same style, run heavy QBs. So you're going to see a lot of RPO, but Warren and Downs over the middle are great. You have 2 good backs in Taylor and Giddens. You have 3 great outside presence in Pittman, Pierce, and Mitchell. This offense is built for success. So a guy that Daniel Jones, who over-prepares for everything. You can see him on the team plane. When they load up, when they're leaving a place, he's in his book, reading up on the next opponent every single time. The dude is he's a studying machine. He is going to be very efficient this year, and I think he's going to have a great year if he sticks with this job the whole time and doesn't Daniel Jones it up and throw those random picks out of nowhere. So if he keeps a straight head, I think he is going to be Sam Darnold this year.
Well, I mean, the schedule is going to get harder than the Miami Dolphins. We all know
it will.
And starting this coming week, right? They're playing. I'm trying to remember who they have this week. Colts this week.
Tennessee.
No, they have the Broncos coming into town this week.
That's what it is.
That's what it is.
Yeah.
So it's going to get a lot harder real quick for Daniel Jones. So with that looming, Welsh, is Daniel Jones this year's Sam Darnold?
Yeah, I mean, I think that like the Sam Darnoldness makes this kind of open. I'd say yes. Like, what does that mean? Like, from a fantasy perspective, can he be like quarterback 12 to 15? Yeah. Is he efficient enough to let the weapons do their job? Yeah, I think so. He definitely can have those moments, but a lot of these, I mean, Purdy has those moments. A lot of those guys, just that dumb pass over here or there. They were running some RPOs a lot in this game, going to Jonathan Taylor, great receiving options. Warren is their cheat code. So, yeah, I think I'm going to go yes, true.
All right, Jaxson Smith-Njigba had 9 catches for 124. Fact or fiction, Welsh, we'll all wish that we ranked JSN higher in draft season.
Fact, absolute fact on JSN. Bogman, you and I were fighting over JSN in some spots with what he was.
I remember you fighting for Cooper Kupp. That's what I remember.
No. Cooper Kupp was dead. The argument was, is Cooper Kupp dead? JSN is not, because Cooper Kupp is officially. That was Marvel Zombies version of Cooper Kupp was out there. A lot this week. JSN was elite. He had a 90% air yard share. So when the ball went in the air, deep at all, it was going to him. He was massively targeted, 56.5% target share, which is like just an absolutely absurd number, and a 66% first read share. It's JSN and it's all the other guys. So everyone will regret.
Yeah, I mean, Welsh, you hit it right on the head. That led the league in first read percentage by a significant margin. And we saw in the preseason, this offensive line for the Seattle Seahawks looked great. Things were changing. A lot of one wide receiver sets, which means JSN is going to be out there a lot. Now, Cooper Kupp did outsnap him in this game, but he did a lot of blocking as well. So JSN looked great. My issue with JSN is not actually with JSN. It's that I think Sam Darnold gets benched at the end of the year, and you go to Jalen Milroe, who wasn't good enough to pass in the SEC last year. So if that happens and they go to Milroe at the end of the season, if they keep losing these close games and it's clear they're not making the playoffs, they might just want to see what the kid has. And then I would have major concerns in the important part of the season for you in the playoffs that JSN wouldn't be the same guy that we're getting with Sam Darnold. So
if there's an
we'll
injury,
see.
I think it would be Drew Lock taking over. But
Yes.
if they're just out of it at the end, you could see come playoff time.
That's why I'm worried about
Jalen
December
Burrow.
and not.
No, that's
injury.
fair. That is a fair concern there. Last but not least, Travis Etienne will finish as a top 10 RB in fantasy. Let's call it PPR. Scott Bogman, fact or fiction?
False. I think he's absolutely the number one running back in Jacksonville, but that is false. He's not going to get to play Carolina, this historically bad run defense, every single week.
Okay, Welsh, top 10 for Travis Etienne. Is that possible?
No, not even remotely close. I like I said, I think I trusted it less than you guys. I think he might be a trade option. He got great usage, but they already threw out 4 backs to us. Tootin actually looked good in some zone stuff. We might see him a tiny bit more. I think he's just going to be capped on touches as the season goes on. So I will say big false.
Okay, big false there. Let's play a little 3-1-1. This is when we pick a 300-yard passer, a 100-yard rusher, and a 100-yard receiver going into week 2. You guys can play along right now in the chat too. So again, look at the schedule for week 2. Give us your 300-yard passer, your 100-yard rusher, your 100-yard receiver. You could do it right now on the YouTube channel, watching it back too. Have some fun. You can come back and then gloat that you got it all right. So for me, I'm going to go with, I'm buying in on the Denver Broncos, whooping on the Colts, but I'm also buying in on the Detroit Lions getting back home and getting right, but I still think they are tenuous to make the playoffs this year. I'm just putting that out there. But they get the Bears next week. So give me Jared Goff to throw for 300 yards. Give me Amon-Ra St. Brown to be the 100-yard receiver there in that group. And then give me Saquon Barkley against the Kansas City Chiefs to be my 100-yard rusher. I think he's still running on the Chiefs somewhere from back in February. So that's where I'm going here. It's tough, man. You lose the Super Bowl next year, things just fall apart. It's like Infinity War every single season. Welsh, who's your 3-1-1 for week 2?
All right, my 300-yard passer, I'm going to go with Trevor Lawrence going up against the Cincinnati Bengals. This actually might still be another Etienne. We just did all that negative about Etienne. We saw Dylan Sampson get a ton of work receiving out of the backfield against the Bengals. That could be Travis Etienne in this. Trevor Lawrence has got to get Brian Thomas more involved, but also the Bengals defense just stinks, so they're going to be able to pass the ball. So I really like them to get it in the air a little bit more. My 100-yard rusher, it's actually a little bit tougher. I'm going to go Christian McCaffrey. How about 31 touches?
Tough.
Yeah.
I almost went there too. It's tough. You're looking out there, you're like, well, is it going to be Henry 2 weeks in a row? Maybe. Like, you know, they're playing the Browns.
Running backs underperformed this week.
Yeah, it's a tough
a lot of
group
rookies too. But, you know, also there's a lot of split backfields, a lot of, you know, teams coming out from preseason where people don't have the stamina yet either. And it's funny because I'm looking next week and everybody forgets the Ravens went 0-2 last year. Remember, they went home and they lost the second game of the season to
they
Las
got come
Vegas
back on
Raiders.
Just like they did in this game against the Raiders in week 2 last year.
Yep.
But Welsh, I love this CMC pick against New Orleans because they're going to hold the ball the entire game.
22 carries for Christian McCaffrey. It doesn't matter that Robinson was running out there. Christian McCaffrey still had 22 carries. That's not counting the 10 targets, the 10 reception. You know, like they're the 10 targets in there. So Christian McCaffrey against that Saints defense. You saw Trey Benson break out a big one. Kittle's hurt. Juwan Jennings might miss the game. They just re-signed Kendrick Bourne. Like, they're going to keep the ball on the ground, and it's going to be Christian McCaffrey 20-plus times, so 100 yards. That's going to be my pick. And then on the receiving side, I'm going to go with Ladd McConkey up against the Raiders. Okay. Ladd and Quentin Johnston obviously had, like, high percentages, but I think Ladd is going to shred him up. I also kind of had a hard time picking. Like, I want to go back to – I almost did Brian Thomas on this, but the usage was so weird, and they might course correct. But give me Ladd McConkey to get a little bit more involved. He kind of did Ladd McConkey things, but I think they'll stretch it out a little bit more with him, and he's going to rock it. Also, because you saw like Kayson Boutte, it was like weird, the coverage and how the Patriots were able to kind of get their wide receivers going. They spread it out so much. I think Ladd's going to get a big one here, so that's my 100-yard receiver.
Welsh, if you go to bettingpros.com right now, there's a line at a book. I shall not name that book. That's just straight up wrong because it's a new book. And it's +4 for the San Francisco 49ers right now against the Saints. Just saying.
Oh, okay.
This morning.
It was 7 last night.
Sign up for an account and go ahead and just you put your mortgage payment on that one.
In the private chat.
Yeah. Well, you know, I'll talk about it later. Maybe.
You guys could also go to bettingpros.com and you could check out the results.
You could see all the quick picks there. I'm making it my bet of the week just for SSNGs. Scott Bogman, give me your 3-1-1 for week 2.
Yeah, Joe, real interesting of you to take the Lions against our old OC, who knows all of their tendencies. So I'm going to go with Michael Penix at
but
Minnesota.
This is what happens every year, right? Some team looks really bad, and we all go, "Oh, it's over for this team." And then week 2 comes around, and like, "Oh yeah, there they are." Look, man, I have more concerns about Caleb Williams than I do even about
That's fair.
the Lions.
We'll see tonight. We'll find out tonight a lot about Caleb Williams.
We'll
I
find
think.
out. I'm looking for Kyle Monangai tonight too. Fingers crossed. Let the
okay.
boy from Rutgers look good. That's what.
Let's go with Michael Penix against Minnesota. Minnesota brings the blitz. I think the plan is going to be to throw into that blitz with Penix. They had a hard time rushing against Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay really good run D, specifically up the middle. But I think that Penix is going to throw.
You worried about? Sorry, I mean I was. But are you worried about London? Like Mooney was out and London hurt his shoulder a little bit. Is that a little fear?
I tell you what, if London and Mooney are still out, maybe I would be. But you know why I'm not? Because Bijan just lined up like a wide receiver last week. Kyle Pitts looked good, and Casey Washington played well. I thought for he led them in snaps.
Penix was good in that game too. That's a tough
Penix
game.
looked really good.
I thought he played really well.
And I think, like, just at the end of the day, I think Minnesota's going to put up points, and I think you're going to have to go point for point with them. So I think you're going to have to be throwing a lot in that third and fourth quarter, regardless of which wide receivers are
Also,
out
I
there.
think he had a 63% completion percentage, and he had one of the highest adjusted over on fantasy points. If you look at adjusted completion percentage, it's one of the highest gaps between actual completion and adjusted. So just a lot of passes that should have been there, got dropped, got knocked out. So it's just
lots of victory laps for our boy Fitzy this week. Big on Penix, big on Keon Coleman. So not so big on Breece Hall for
and not so much on Drake May either, but yeah.
Oh, that's true. But my running back here.
Oh, I'm sorry.
My running back here, Joe, how could it not be against this historically bad run defense? It's James Conner. And look, I know that Trey Benson was more involved, right?
He was.
I don't care. They can both get 100 yards against Carolina. They were awful. So I think that they are going to run the ball a lot. Kyler Murray just looked – I know he was sick in that game, and it was a road game in New Orleans, but he did not look good in that game. He looked okay. But I think against Carolina, that's going to be a big one. And give me a revenge game narrative. DK Metcalf against his former team, the Seattle Seahawks, that cast him asunder and pushed him off. I think that you're going to get a lot of short passes and a lot of laying out some of these defensive backs from DK Metcalf. Hopefully he doesn't get too fired up and get into a fight somewhere in there.
We'll see. We'll see. Anything's possible. Good call on Connor, though, against Carolina, too. I'm going to look at that prop this week as well. All right, don't forget, everybody, if you want to unlock Betting Pros Premium for free, download the app today and use the promo code FP 1 month. You get 1 month, same game parlay tool, prop bet analyzer, prize picks, prop bet, cheat sheet. All that stuff is available right now on iOS, on Android. Again, the promo code is FP 1 month when you download the Betting Pros app. And, of course, you can join our Discord, fantasypros.com/chat. It's free. It's fun. We've got shows on there every single on the Tuesdays. We got everybody in there in the Q&As and the AMAs, all that stuff. So join our Discord. It's free. It's fun. It's a great place to get to be part of our community at Fantasy Pros too. You love fantasy football. That's why you're watching this show right now. So go ahead and join the Discord. Meet a lot of other D-gens just like you. Let's get to a couple questions here before we get out. I promised the chat that we would. Let's see if we can find some here. Here's a good one here from Loudbark. Gentlemen, my only tight end is Ingram. Do I make a play for Juwan Johnson? I say yes. Look, Kittle's going to be out too. We have Bowers picked up an injury, but he says he's all right. So all of a sudden, tight end got weird. I think Fannon's interesting. I think Juwan Johnson's interesting. And I think what always hurt Juwan Johnson, guys, was that, you always had, when you got into the red zone where tight ends kind of make their fantasy money, you would bring in Taysom Hill, and Taysom Hill would be that gimmick guy, and he would kind of lose out there. He doesn't have that problem. The wide receivers are always questionable on this team. I think Juwan's worth a pickup. What do you think, Welsh?
I think he's worth the pickup, but I would go Fannin in that one. I think
so. Fannin over Juwan,
even though he's like a number 2 tight end. Yeah, exactly. I'm gonna go Fannin over Juwan. The way he was used, there's no way you're gonna keep him off. I'll throw another one out there. I don't think that Jonnu Smith is necessarily cooked. They were getting him the ball in Pittsburgh, running a lot of like tight end screens. He got that stupid little run. So like
weird goal line stuff.
Yeah, weird. Yeah. Like he's just going to get usage, especially in that short range. So I actually would go like Fannin at the top. I might go Jonnu, and then I would go It's great what Juwan did in that outing, but I'm not like overtly dropping big fab for it off of that one game.
All right, Bodega Prince. Should I keep Stevenson or Caleb Johnson, Boggs?
I mean, if you're going to be starting somebody in the next month, it's Stevenson. But If this is a bench player that you're only bringing up for injuries, then it's Caleb Johnston. Just wait and see.
All right, and here's another one from Hushman. It is any worries about Etienne? Boggs, we'll start with you with this one. We'll go round table.
Not really. I mean, they're still going to have to possess the football and run. I mean, and Etienne has still got a ton of wiggle. He's going to have a ton of volume. But I think he can be successful even on a bad team, so no.
Welsh, any concerns about Etienne?
No, I mean, like, the concern is just that team looks like such a pile of garbage. They look so bad, but, like, where can they go from Tua at this point? And if Tua's there, he's going to throw it 7-8 times to Etienne a game. So, like, the only worry is just the offense looks so bad, but I don't know if there's any application to it. So I'm going to just say no.
And the milk hunter needs to go in there. Get Zach Wilson in.
No, go ahead. Yeah.
I was going to get Zach Wilson in there. I think he'd look better than Tua right now.
I would not be shocked if I was in Superflex leagues and I was hurting at that third QB spot. Maybe pick up Wilson, like just kind of stash
Get him
right
for
there
cheap.
to see. Get him for cheap. But, you know, we had somebody on during draft season on the show who very tied into a lot of NFL teams, and he said that it is a complete disaster in Miami. He said they're completely lost. The general managing, the organization, the coaching, the players, and my God, he was right. Like, they showed up and they just looked completely unprepared. Like, oh, we have a football game today? I didn't realize.
I saw somebody joke, like, hey, prediction, week 10, Mike McDaniel, senior advisor for the 49ers, that he's just going to be out. And he'll already be back they brought Saleh back, that he'll be back. Like, he doesn't look long for that job.
Here we go. All right, we're going to leave on that note because that's a good joke. That'll do it for us, but the story of the game goes on. For the Welsh and Scott Bogman, I'm Joey P. This has been Out of Bounds. We'll see you next time, kids. Mike McDaniel, yes. To the 49ers. Everybody comes home, right, Welsh, eventually?
Mm-hmm.
That's what happens.
We're dying for him. It'll fix everything.
I'm sure it'll be fine. Everything will be just fine.
Yeah.
Yes.
I miss George Kittle already.